Good morning. This is the second day, third regular session. Today is Thursday, March 3rd, 2022 at 10:20 a.m. here in the Senate Chamber, Saipan. And I would like to call this session to order. And before I ask everyone to stand for a moment of silence, please include in your prayers all the victims from the ravage of the ongoing conflict between the two countries in Europe and, of course, in Russia. And also, most especially, the members of our community that have been called upon or will be potentially be called upon to respond to the call. So with that, I ask everyone to rise. And this time, the chair recognizes the clerk to call the roll.
Senator Cruz.
Here.
Senator De Leon Guerrero.
Here.
Senator Hoku.
Here.
Mr. President.
Yagi.
Senator King Neighbors.
Yeah.
Senator Manglonya. Senator Kirua. Senator Sablan.
Yeah.
Senator Santos. Mr. President, all 9 members are present.
With 9 members present, we do have a quorum to conduct this meeting today. So without any objection from the members, I now recognize the floor leader to offer a motion to amend today's agenda. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning to everybody present in this Senate session. At this time, I'd like to offer a motion to suspend Rule 3, Section 3 of the official rules of the Senate, and in compliance with the Open Government Act, to amend today's agenda to include Senate Resolution 22-16 into item K of today's agenda for introduction. So moved, Mr. President.
Motion for the inclusion was read by the floor leader. It's been seconded. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. The resolution is so placed. And before I go down to item B, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'll take a roll call with that.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank you.
clerk, for the suspension motion.
Senator Cruz. Senator De Leon Guerrero.
Yes.
Senator Hoku. Senator King Neighbors.
Yes.
Senator Manglonya. Senator Kirua. Senator Sablan.
Hungad.
Senator Santos. Mr. President.
Again,
Mr. President, all 9 members voting yes.
with 9 members voting yes, the suspension of today's order of business is hereby approved by the members. And before I proceed on to the order of business, I would like to inform everyone, the general public, that the services, special service, counsel services of Counsel Joy McDullet has been retained by my office to assist with the impeachment hearing and also to assist with the impeachment rules. So I want everybody to make note of that. Thank you. Moving on, item B under public comment. And this is the portion of our session where we allow members of the public to offer testimony on any items before the order in the order of business today. And I do want to remind everyone that you are allowed 5 minutes, as so clarified by the council. And I encourage any member, anyone in the public, to please abide by that. Thank you. So the floor is now open. And state your name for the record as you proceed, as you present your testimony.
Test. Good morning. Hafide, Tiro, honorable members of this Senate body. My name is Leila Fleming Staffler, and I'm here to provide comments on the rules, the Senate impeachment rules that I believe you just added to the agenda, but also in reference to Communications 2297 and 2299. Now, I didn't know this, but I have come to learn that a special counsel virtually always means prosecutor. Senate President did clarify this morning, on the role that Counsel McDoulet is playing in this proceedings. However, it still made me curious and concerned, because when you look at the Black's Law definition of a special counsel, it is the name given to the attorney who is employed to assist a state or federal attorney general in a prosecution of a case. A prosecutor in practice prosecutes, brings legal action against another for a crime in the name of the government. Yet it appears that Mr. McDoulet's role might have changed the definition of special counsel here in the Marianas. The rules that he has helped draft, which the current Senate counsel is more than capable to have drafted, rules that the minority members of this body have had no input in. Is his role also to preside over the impeachment meeting? Is he acting as a pro se chairman to facilitate these hearings himself? These are questions that I wonder, because when I look at the rules, I won't lie, I was shocked at the lengthy procedure that at any given point prior to the actual impeachment trial proceedings could disqualify the copious amounts of evidence that show clear and repetitive actions of felony corruption and neglect of duty by Governor Torres over these several years. And without the evidence to back it up, the impeachment process is incomplete. And to think these rules were drafted by special counsel, Black's Dictionary might have to change a new line to this definition, giving the name to attorneys in the Marianas who protect the governor from being impeached through procedural details. One of the rules that hampers this process is Rule 7, the appointment of the impeachment prosecutor. The House Speaker who authorized impeachment inquiry shall serve as the impeachment prosecutor. We are hampered by these rules because they bar us from choosing our own team members to be on the impeachment prosecution team. It bars us from hiring our own special counsel, who would actually be a special counsel in the name of Black's Law's definition. Instead, we must learn to be lawyers in a month or less. Oh, wait, we don't have to learn to be lawyers in a month or less. It would be just the Speaker. The Speaker who has been more than fair over the course of these proceedings. He has always taken neutral ground, allowing for the process to take its course. He has not stacked the deck. He has been respectful of the minority by being neutral. This rule specifically has a chilling effect for all future speakers whose House leadership may have clear and convincing evidence to support an impeachment, whether it's for a governor or any other sitting official. Forcing the Speaker to carry 100% of the burden to prove this will make anyone think twice about authorizing an impeachment process. The impeached official has no such restriction. They can have as many counsel as they want, it appears. And they have hired a barrage of lawyers who are trying to build a wall of protection around this governor. Protection from who is what the people want to know. Now, doing what is right is never easy, but it is always the right thing to do. So, senators, we ask you to do what is right for the people, to be fair. These rules, they are not fair. They skew in favor of this impeached governor. We ask you, senators, please do what is right for the people. Be fair. Thank you.
Mrs. Mossi, Representative Staffler. The floor is open. And again, the time is 5 minutes you're allotted. And when you are providing your testimony, please stick with the issues on the order of business. And 5 minutes is your time. Thank you so much.
Test. Okay. Thank you again, honorable members of the Senate. Buenos dias para todos hamzu ni man eekunguk. Since I'm only allotted a specific amount of time, I will keep it short and simple. If the Senate body moves forward and adopts the impeachment rules as it is, then you'll be encroaching and overreaching into the House of Representatives' abilities to prosecute the case that's before us, plain and simple. Senators, the Senate on the federal side has respect for their counterparts in the House. They gave the House of Representatives the autonomy to decide for themselves who they choose for their managers and how many. Why is it that the CNMI is choosing to do it differently? President Hofschneider, you released a press release in which you stated that the House should not comment in your procedures, but sir, we as House members had no choice but to comment on the rules because you are infringing on the House's right to choose its own managers and unfairly hampering its ability to defend the case. The Senate Trial Committee has no authority neither to adopt some variation of exclusionary rules of suppression, nor is it within their legislative jurisdiction to pick, choose, or eliminate altogether prosecuting members of the House managers. Simply put, the Senate, simply put, the U.S. and the NMI Constitution unambiguously define the roles of the both congressional houses as related to impeachment. The House, through their strenuous and meticulous collection of evidence, opens up the impeachment process for review and vote. Of course, we all know that the executive being impeached does not haphazardly got the moniker all by way of proffered evidence. This distinction arose from the potency of evidence in addition to the approval votes of the House members. To complete the cyclical constitutional command to its finality, Senate members are dictated, required, or rather mandated by both U.S. and NMI laws to initiate a proceeding and ultimately find conclusive decision most warranted. Hence, it is not illogical to think that the Senate rules for such proceeding may deter from establishing set rules and/or guidelines in order to run their trial as smooth as possible, fair, and without any sort of hiccups. But here's where the problem lies. Nobody in here is contesting your ability to look for some sanity in the chaos of trial. Rather, it's how you go about establishing such rules, rules that went beyond the scope of your duties. The rules that have presented for a vote and passage was neither an inadvertent attempt to circumvent another legislative body's duties, nor lack of foresight, intuition, or knowledge in legal theory. Rather, it is a blatant attempt to demean, demoralize, and ridicule the constitutional rights of an entity, the People's House. For that reason alone, a purposeful cause to encroach and meddle in affairs of others is unconstitutional and unclean. By the attempt of creating and eventually passing such one-sided and unconscionable precepts, you as senators are once without morals and ethics. You have sent a conscious message that establishes a means to an end. For example, let us forget that this ever happened, and let's just continue with business as usual. Such type of behavior are never, or rather, should never be rewarded. Senators, level out the playing field for all parties involved. Make the necessary amendments to the rules, do what is right for the people, and do what's fair. To do small Aussie in advance and on behalf of the people of the CNMI. Thank you.
Ma'am, can you please just state your name for the record? I think you overlooked that part. Just state your name for the record.
I'm so sorry. My
Thank
name
you.
is Corina Magofnia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. The floor is open for any other testimony. Well, moving on to item C, reading and approval of the journal. Floor Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have one journal for adoption today, and it is Senate Journal 22-18, dated first day, third regular session, February 3rd, 2022. Mr. President and members, I move for its adoption.
So motion offered by the floor leader for the adoption of Senate Journal 22-18. Do I hear a second on that motion?
Second.
Second in discussion. Oh, Senator Manglona.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just for the record, in this journal, the president informed the members and the public that in the impeachment rules committee, that a member of the minority will be, at least one member will be appointed. And just for the record, there has never been any appointment to even another member. So I just want to put that on record. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Manglona. Any other member under discussion? All those in favor of the motion for the adoption of the journal, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Senate Journal 22-18 is hereby adopted. And item D, messages from the governor. Clerk.
Mr. President, we have 8 on our agenda, 22-156 to 163.
Any comments from the members? Senator Santos.
Thank you, Mr. President. And this is in reference to Governor's message number 22-158, veto to House Bill 22-53HS1. As some of us may know, the CNMA Public Law 21-28 to recognize and anticipated the importance, the need, and legal requirements of the Medicaid program to comply as all states are required with the provisions of Title 19 of the Social Security Act. The vetoed House Bill number 22-53HS1 seeks to clarify the authority of the Medicaid director and would also further enable the recruitment, the retention, and appropriate classifications and compensation of the Medicaid personnel. The Commonwealth Medicaid Agency and its director strongly supported House Bill number 22-53HS1 as required to meet the federal mandates and implement the Commonwealth Public Law 2021-28. And with this, it is strongly urged that the author of this bill, I believe it's Congresswoman Lila Staffler, to work closely with the Attorney General's office and the Office of Personnel Management to resolve the ambiguities in the language of the bill as indicated in the governor's veto message and reintroduce further legislation's action. I strongly believe that this particular legislation is very important for the Commonwealth Medicaid Agency. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield.
Senator Santos. Any other member under governor communication? Moving on, communications from the judiciary.
None, Mr. President.
Communications from the heads of executive department.
None.
Communications from the House.
We have 4 on our agenda, 22-79 to 82, Mr. President.
Any comment from the members? At this time, the chair recognizes Floor Leader Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. President. And under item G, communications from the House, it is stated that this body shall take action on House Communication number 22-79. So at this moment, I'd like to offer a motion that the Senate accepts the amendments of House Communication number 22-79, returning with amendments Senate Bill number 22-18, SD1, HD2, to waive the Northern Marianas College tuition for veteran with 30% or greater service-connected disability and for other purposes. Mr. President and members, I move to accept these amendments.
So motion offered by the floor leader to accept House Communication 22-79, returning with amendments, and it's been seconded under discussion. Ready? And if the members accept this in an affirmative, or if they support it, then that means the bill essentially makes its way over to for disposition by the administration. So with that, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Cruz,
Yes.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Senator Hooker, Senator King Nagers,
Good.
Senator Manglonia, Senator Kidawat, Senator Sablon,
Hungad.
Senator Santos, Mr. President.
Good.
Mr. President, all 9 members voting yes.
With 9 members voting yes, the Senate accepts the House amendment of Senate Bill 2218. 2218 essentially passing the legislation with the House amendments. Thank you. I'd like to take a short recess. We're back in session. And before we went on break, we're still under communications from the House. And then moving on to item H, communications from the Senate. Senator Santos, on which item?
Item G, Mr. President.
Yeah, go for it. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. And this is in reference to House Communication number 22-82. It is hoped that when the House and the Senate conference meet, that there will be an immediate breakthrough or an amicable resolution to this bill so that our retirees will have their bonus finally be given to them, considering that, the food and fuel prices have been escalating here in the Commonwealth and worldwide. I just also noticed, Mr. President, that there is a Senate resolution that was just being provided to the members, Senate Resolution 22-80, which respectfully requests the Senate President to appoint the Senate conference to a conference committee for House Bill number 22-91 HD1 SS1. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield.
Azizus Masi, Senator Santos. Senator Manglona, recognize.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the same item, on House Bill 2291 HD1 SS1, whereby the House has informed the Senate that they rejected this retirement bonus. We have before the Senate Resolution 22-18 to respectfully request the Senate President to appoint the Senate conference to a conference committee for House Bill number 22-91 and support and approve the proposed conference committee substitute one as attached. It's that 6 pages attachment for the payment of the retirees 1,000 bonus. Mr. President, I understand that it's in their rejection appears only in our calendar today, but as in the past, sometimes if you actually receive the notice, we immediately, because of the urgency, appoint conferees. But Senator Edith and I took the initiative to meet with the some members of the House conferees, and we discussed their intent, and that's the purpose of this attachment. Please do not ask the House how did they get the CC1. CC1 is something that Senator Edith and I have written, reflecting what the House would support. And so here is attached to this resolution is what the House intends to do. And actually, this is reflected in a bill that the House, on the same day that they rejected 2291 SS1 CCS1, filed in their session. So I think that we're very close. We're there already. It's just if we appoint the conference committee, they sit down for 2 minutes. I think that then we can make this possible for our retirees. And so if there's no objection, maybe with the unanimous support of the members, we can pass Senate Resolution 2218, or even just appoint the conferees before the end of the day so that they can meet with the House and review this proposed legislation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Azizus Masi, Senator Manglona. Any other member under House Communication? Moving on, item H, communications from the Senate.
Mr. President, we have 9 on our agenda, 2297 to 105.
Any discussion? Senator Manglona, I recognize.
This is Muslim, Mr. President. This is on Senate Communication 2297. This is a letter I wrote back in January 27 to you, Mr. President, pertaining to House Resolution 2214 on the House's impeachment of Governor Torres for the commission of felonies, corruption, and neglect of duty. I understand we discussed this on Monday, and our session adjourned without addressing the bill. And I am raising it up at this point because today's session is actually the third regular session, which is to continue the call that was made 3 or 4 times before today, and under this order of business, it does not include any major legislation other than Senate Bill 2261 and 2270 under our final reading calendar. It does not show here whether the Senate will tackle today the impeachment rule. So I guess my question is, are we going to tackle the impeachment rule today? Mr. President, I'm having a I guess call. I'm coming out with a call, and I want to attend the session in my office through Zoom because I don't want to pass my call to anyone. But if you say that they're going to entertain today, I'll stick around in person. But I just want to ask if the rules will be tackled somehow today in this session.
I intend to address the subject that you're asking. That's why we placed it on item K.
Item K, Mr. President.
Yes, and we'll make the appropriate motion and approval to place on item O.
Okay, Jesus Moses. So I'm going to be attending the session then in Zoom in my office, Mr. President.
If you so decide,
Thank you.
I would approve that request.
Yeah.
Sent to Mula. Any other member on Senate communication? Senator Edith Drilon Guerrero.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a brief remark on Senate Communication Number 22104 from Mr. Crispin M. Ogo, Rhoda resident. I think this is very important that we take a look at this. We do understand that a lot of our citizens are dying of cancer, and any downwind effect exposure to any some sort of radiation. I think it's very important that we take a look at this in the U.S. Congress so that we participate in any kind of compensation for our citizens if any sort of downwind effect does affect our citizens. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Drilon Guerrero. Moving on to item I under communications from the Washington delegate. Clerk.
Mr. President, we have one, 2205, regarding the workforce trends and wage distribution.
Any comments from the members? Senator Edith Drilon Guerrero, recognize.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the Washington Delegate Communication Number 2205, I think it's important that we take a look at the concerns that was raised by our Washington delegate regarding the submission of the CNMI's report to the U.S. Department of Labor, specifically on paragraph 6. If you look at it, it says the current plan appears to lack any detail on long-term strategy for replacing foreign workers with U.S. workers, which is the overall goal of the Workforce Act. Additionally, on paragraph number 7, it says this assessment is concerning. Our local businesses are depending on your wise use of the CWF to protect them from the annual reduction in CW1 visas, and U.S. workers in the Marianas are expecting to be able to train to fill the jobs that foreign workers have for so long taken over. Mr. President, we really need to take a look at this report. I believe I shared the report that was shared to me by the Secretary of Labor. I'm not sure if you all have your copies, but it is important that we review the process and what kind of trainings are out there for our citizens, CNMI-wide, and also to look at the unemployment rate of the Marianas so that all of these funding that are coming in from the United States government to include the development of the military on the island of Tinian and now on Rhoda as well, where we have the missile launcher that's going to be placed at the Rhoda airport. Obviously, the municipal economies are going to be realizing some sort of economic growth due to military business. But what is important is that our citizens also participate with respect to any employment opportunities, and we need to hold the respective department that is managing the CWF monies to ensure that our citizens are well trained and to get into the employment opportunities. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Leon Guerrero. Any other member? Ready? Under item J, clerk.
None, Mr. President.
Item K. Clerk?
Mr. President, we have two on our agenda.
Short recess, Mr. President.
A short recess now. And at this time, the chair recognizes Senator Edith De Leon Guerrero to formally introduce her resolutions.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have pre-filed Senate Joint Resolution Number 2206, requesting the Office of Personnel Management, the Secretary of Finance, and the Civil Service Commission to work together to have the WGIs, or merit increases, assessed and processed for the civil service employees that were furloughed and later returned to work. Additionally, I pre-filed Senate Joint Resolution Number 2207, requesting Governor Torres and Secretary of Finance to provide ARPA funds to provide premium pay for the legislative members' employees. And if there's no objection to the members, I would like to request that this particular Senate Joint Resolution 2207 be placed on today's resolution calendar for passage and with proper motions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Jesus Masi, Senator De Leon Guerrero, and there's no objection from the members. I now recognize Floor Leader to offer the appropriate motion for that request.
Thank you, Mr. President. And at this moment, I'd like to offer a motion to place Senate Joint Resolution Number 22-07, requesting Governor Torres and Secretary of Finance to provide ARPA funds to provide premium pay for the legislative members' employees. So move.
There's a motion offered by the Floor Leader for the placement of Senate Joint Resolution Number 2206 and has been seconded. All those under discussion? Ready? All those in favor for the placement of Senate Joint Resolution Number 2206 on today's order of business under item O. Senate Joint Resolution. 22, sorry, you requested 06?
07.
Okay. Joint Resolution number 2207. All those in favor, once again, for the placement of Senate Joint Resolution number 2207 on item O on today's order of business, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Joint Resolution number 2207 is hereby placed. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. And at this time, I'd like to offer a motion to place on resolution calendar Senate Joint Resolution number 22-06, requesting the Office of Personnel Management, the Secretary of Finance, and the Civil Service Commission to work together to have the WGIs or merit increase assessed and processed for the civil service employees that were furloughed and later returned to work. I offer this motion.
There's a motion offered by the floor leader for the placement of Senate Joint Resolution number 2206 on item O. It's been seconded. All those in favor of the motion for the placement of Senate Joint Resolution 2206, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Joint Resolution is hereby placed on item O. Any other member wish to offer a resolution or any legislation?
Zero.
With that,
Stay. Zero. 500. Yeah. Sige. 08. Shit, play. Okay, yun, yun.
Senator Edith DeLongor, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce Senate Joint Resolution number 2208, a Senate Joint Resolution requesting the Governor and the Secretary of Finance to provide financial assistance to meet the increased demand of fuel costs in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands by implementing a $500 fuel voucher program. And if there's no objections to the members, I would like to also request that this particular Senate Joint Resolution 2208 be placed on the resolution calendar for its passage with proper motion. Thank you, Mr. President.
Objection. Thank you, Senator Edith DeLongor. And again, recognize the floor leader.
Short recess while they pass out the copies no, before the,
Okay,
the
all right.
motion. No.
Short recess. For the appropriate motion to offer for the placement of Senate Joint Resolution 2208 as requested by Senator De Leon Guerrero.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd like to offer a motion to place on resolution calendar Senate Joint Resolution number 22-08, requesting the Governor and Secretary of Finance to provide financial assistance to meet the increased demand of fuel costs in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands by implementing a $500 fuel voucher program. So moved, Mr. President.
The motion offered by the floor leader for the placement of Senate Joint Resolution 2208 on item O, and it's been seconded. Under discussion, no further discussion? No discussion. All those in favor for the placement of Senate Joint Resolution 2208 on today's resolution gathered, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Joint Resolution 2208 is hereby placed. Any other member? Before I introduce my resolution? We're good. Clerk? Short recess requested by clerk. Question, and the chair would like to ask again one more time if any of the other members have any other resolution or bills to offer. For introduction. Senator Manglonia, I recognize.
Yes, I'd like to officially introduce Senate Resolution number 22-18. To respectfully request the Senate President to appoint the Senate Conference Committee for House Bill number 2291. This on the retirees 1,000 bonuses. So introduce. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Manglonia. Any other member? Or an introduction is, Senator? No. So, being none, the chair has one for formally introduce Senate Resolution 22-16. A Senate resolution to adopt the Senate impeachment rules for the 22nd Northern Marianas Commonwealth Legislature. And without any objection from the members, I ask that we place it on today's resolution calendar. And then with that, I recognize the floor leader to make the appropriate motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. And at this time, I'd like to offer a motion to place on resolution calendar Senate Resolution 22-16 to adopt the Senate impeachment rules for the 22nd Northern Marianas Commonwealth Legislature. So moved, Mr. President.
Leader for the placement on resolution calendar, Senate Resolution 22-16. It's been seconded. Discussion. All those in favor for the placement of Senate Resolution 22-16 on item O on the resolution calendar, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate resolutions hereby placed on item O. Thank you. Moving on along under item M, reports of standing committees. I recognize the chairman of the Committee on Health, Education, and Welfare, and Vice President Justo Kitugua. And I'm sorry, Senator Kitugua, I recognize the floor leader for the appropriate motion.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we have one standing committee report for adoption, and that is Standing Committee Report number 22-65 from your Committee on Health, Education, and Welfare, reporting on Senate Bill number 22-61 to amend 3 CMC subsection 1331B by deleting the offset provision of the Northern Marianas College annual budget funded by the legislature. Mr. President and members, I move for its adoption.
It's been a motion offered by the floor leader for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 22-65. Do I hear a second to that motion? Second. Discussion? Senator Kirua.
Mr. President. Mr. President, this legislation, Senate Bill 22-61, has been requested by NMC for the second time on this legislature. The Senate had acted on the previous legislation, on the previous legislature, but the House never acted on it. So again, NMC requested for another reintroduction of a similar bill. So as a result, with input from NMC, the committee finally met and came up with the proposed amendments to the original bill, which is now 22-61 ST1, and the amendments made are all from NMC. So with that brief history of this legislation, I ask that the full Senate pass this again for the sake of our only college and particularly the students who are attending NMC. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Vice President. Senator Santos?
Thank you, Mr. President. I understand that this is only for the adoption of the Standing Committee Report number 2265, but I'd like to echo Senator Kiruba's position on this legislation, and I too support this bill as it will provide NMC with funds to maintain unfunded mandates that are critical to NMC. The Attorney General raised no constitutional issues with regards to this legislation, while the NMC supports the bill as it will continue to expand its workforce development, academic programs, and rebuilding, etc. And for that, I'm ready for the question and with respect to the Standing Committee report. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Santos. Any other member? Ready? I just wanted to say, Senator JQ, I really appreciate you doing this piece of legislation. Everyone, and especially the members of the legislature, every budget year, they're made aware that to give them more, and this is one mechanism to afford them that particular ask. But at the same time, it is also going to potentially compromise some of other agencies in the CNMI that are being funded by the legislature. So all the more important that we need to work hard as members of the legislature to find additional revenue and support economic activity other than what we have currently, so that we can do our best to supply these kinds of beneficial programs in the community. So with that, under the question for the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 22-65, all those in favor of adopting Standing Committee Report number 2265, please say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Standing Committee Report number 2265 is hereby adopted. Moving on, item N, reports of Special Conference Committee.
None, Mr. President.
Under item O, resolution calendar, and at this time, the chair recognizes the floor leader to entertain the resolution before us on item O, starting with 6. Yes. So recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. And under O, resolution calendar, our first resolution for adoption is Senate Joint Resolution number 22-06, requesting the Office of Personnel Management, the Secretary of Finance, and the Civil Service Commission to work together to have the WGIs or merit increases assessed and processed for the civil service employees that were furloughed and later returned to work. Mr. President and members, I move for its adoption.
There's a motion offered for adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 2206. Do I hear a second to that motion? It's been seconded. Discussion. All those in favor for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 2206, please say aye. And all those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Joint Resolution 2206 hereby adopted. Floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our second item under resolution calendar is Senate Joint Resolution 22-07, requesting Governor Torres and the Secretary of Finance to provide ARPA funds to provide premium pay for the legislative members' employees. Mr. President and members, I move for its adoption.
Motion offered by the floor leader for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 2207. Do we hear a second to that motion? Again, on discussion. Ready? All those in favor of the motion for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 2207, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Senate Joint Resolution 2207 is hereby adopted. And before just for clarification, we are not entertaining Senate Joint Resolution 2208, but I asked the clerk to keep it on the agenda for consideration the next session. So with that, I now recognize the floor leader for the next resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. And our last resolution for adoption today is Senate Resolution number 22-16 to adopt the Senate impeachment rules for the 22nd Northern Marianas Commonwealth Legislature. Mr. President and members, I move for its adoption.
The motion offered by the floor leader for the adoption of Senate Resolution 22-16. Do I hear a second to that motion? And second, under discussion. And I now recognize the Chair for JGLFR, Chairman Senator Carl King Neighbors.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I would like to yield to the other members for their comments first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any further comments on the resolution?
Mr. Chairman, for purposes of clarification, is this for the rules?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll yield for now, but I will be coming back to put something on record. Thank you.
Senator Santos, you're recognized. If you wish to do it now, this is the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we all know, the Constitution states that the House of Representatives may initiate impeachment proceedings by the affirmative vote of 2/3 of its members, and the Senate may convict after hearing by the affirmative vote of 2/3 of its members. The Senate is vested with the power to hear or sit as High Court of Impeachment, in which we consider evidence, hear witnesses, and vote to acquit or convict the impeached official with respect to the impeachment articles. Rule 3B states that before the articles of impeachment are presented to the Senate, that the Senate President may refer the articles of impeachment to a special committee for a preliminary determination on the threshold questions of whether the articles of impeachment as presented is deemed to be deficient or insufficient based on the House impeachment record as supplemented. Subsequently, 3C states that the Senate President may refer the remaining articles of impeachment to committee for hearing. Moreover, that may conduct another preliminary determination of the threshold questions of whether the remaining articles of impeachment as presented is deemed to be deficient or insufficient. Rule 3 easily allows the members to eliminate the articles of impeachment in its entirety without performing our constitutional mandate to conduct a hearing. The governor has been very vocal in the media and over social media networks that he is unequivocally certain that he will receive a fair and balanced hearing in the Senate, where he intends to address each allegation so that he may prove once and for all before this elected body that he has nothing wrong in his capacity as governor of the Commonwealth. This section can deprive the governor from fulfilling his promise to the people of the Commonwealth. And to further tip the scales of justice, the House impeachment record as supplemented means that Rule 9G gives the impeached official the power to either strike any part of or the entire House impeachment record or supplement in any part or the entire House impeachment record. In direct contrast, the 18th Special Committee on Impeachment Rules, chaired by then Senator Ralph de Longoria Torres on the articles of impeachment of former Governor Benigno Arfitel, stated, Rule 14, sufficiency of articles of impeachment, that any motion to dismiss or challenge the sufficiency of the articles of impeachment shall not be entertained by the Senate. The Senate members understood that their constitutional mandate was to conduct a fair and impartial hearing, not to challenge the sufficiency or dismiss the House articles of impeachment. Rule 7, appointment of impeachment prosecutor. Mr. President, I do not understand why the committee chooses to dictate who shall serve as the impeachment prosecutor. In the U.S. Congress, impeachment managers are representatives selected by the Speaker of the House of Representatives. To further hinder and limit their fiduciary duty, the impeachment prosecutor staff shall be limited to House legal counsel and/or other employees. In my personal opinion, this rule is unjust, unethical, and unfair, and unreasonable to the House of Representatives. If these overreaching actions were reciprocated, I undeniably doubt that the Senate will consent and tolerate such disregard of the separation of houses of the legislature, and this has been echoed by several members of the House of Representatives. Rule 8, notification of impeached officials' legal counsel. Contrastingly, the Senate does not dictate who the legal counsel will be for the impeached official, nor does the rule set any limitations or restrictions as it did to the House. Again, this is highly biased, partial, and unfair to the House of Representatives. In conclusion, Mr. President and members, and in addition to the specific rules that I highlighted above, I also have concerns regarding the witness list, legal sufficiencies of articles of impeachment, rules of evidence governing the hearing, burden of proof, and etc. I firmly believe that I cannot fairly formulate a sound decision knowing that these rules afford an unfair advantage to one party. My ability to render an impartial decision is trumped by this bias and prejudice rules. I am not a legal expert, but based on my understanding of the proposed rules, the Senate will not be conducting a fair and impartial trial, and if these rules are adopted, we might not even have a trial at all. The proposed rules is littered with bias and extremely apparent and obvious that the scales of justice has been intentionally and knowingly tipped to accommodate the impeached. Thank you, Mr. President and members. I yield for now.
This is Masi Senator Santos. I recognize Senator De Leon Guerrero.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Barely into the pages of this 44 impeachment rules, it is clear that the adopted impeachment rules does not spell justice. Despite the public statement that a minority member will be appointed to the impeachment special committee, the 5-member Senate impeachment committee without a minority member's participation in this adopted impeachment rules continues to have significant control over key procedural matters throughout the hearing. In essence, the Senate as a whole is stripped of its duty as jury. Case in point, under Rule 3B, trier of facts, free rein powers to review and approve is given to the Special Impeachment Committee. Further, the further adoption of secular rules of evidence and elements of crime spelled out under Rule 3B2, the slight error or deficiency of proof presented by the impeachment prosecutor and the articles is thrown out under Rule 3B4. Though the Special Impeachment Committee stated that this is a comprehensive impeachment rules, the sad truth is it is not. Rule 72B shows the impeachment rules was not intended to be used perpetually, which is harmful in terms of establishing a precedent. The impeachment rule seems more cunningly composed by someone that may not be from the Senate or its instruments. The danger if Rule 72B remains, and so as other sections or rules in question, poses the likelihood, as I earlier stated, of establishing a harmful precedent that will set the tone for future impeachment trials, technically eroding a sacrosanct function of the Senate found in the Constitution. Mr. President and members, procedural rule is the heart of courts of law. Also, creating a committee with power to wield in a hearing or trial proceedings is like having a second but superior judge governing the conduct of the trial. The special committee's function should end when and once the impeachment rules is adopted by the Senate as a whole. However, in this case, the Special Impeachment Committee remains with its reign of power throughout the entirety of the impeachment hearing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator De Leon Guerrero. I would like to call for a short recess, just 2 minutes. Okay. We're back in session, and we're still under discussion under the consideration of Senate Resolution 2216. And Senator Edith just finished her testimony, and The floor still remains open for any other member, of which I would recognize Senator Malonia.
Mr. President. Finena, no, I just want to say that I wrote an email to our Senate legal counsel, Antoinette and Joe Bermudez, when the session was announced last Friday night at 5 p.m. I asked them to do a complete detailed analysis of the impeachment rules that was authored by the governor himself. And as a matter of fact, with 4 or 5 members in this chamber approving it, that was the attachment to Senate Resolution 22-14 that Senator Edith and I introduced. And I got an email I guess just Monday, from the legal counsel saying that she can give me a draft, summary, whatever, and she's still working on the final comparison, which we have asked her to review the attachment on SR 2014 versus the attachment on SR 2016, and I still haven't gotten the final analysis. I also emailed our legal counsel yesterday about the legality of Attorney Joe McDougall. As a matter of fact, he was sitting at that very chair where Senator Vinnie was in our last session, and I wanted to ask the legal counsel, pursuant to the Constitution, Section Article 2, Section 17, subsection A, B, and C, as was discussed by Congresswoman Selena as well as Congresswoman Leila, whether in fact they did not violate the Constitution, and they said they need more time. The response from the legal counsel was they need more time. And so I don't want to delay this. I want to act on it, but I want to also have all the information before us. And so, Mr. President, I'm not after anything. I don't have any hidden agenda. I just want to get past this impeachment. Let's finish it, move on. Our people out there are suffering. They want to know about their bonus, about these gas prices, about the economy, about tourism, about getting back their small businesses. And so I'm just going to keep it short. I think you got my statement already. It's just that we should have a fair trial. Let's hear from the House. Let's hear from their attorneys. Let's see the evidences. And then nobody's pressuring anyone here. We are elected to promote, to protect the interests of our people, and we decide. At that point, we vote on it, but we cannot put a handcuff on the House of Representatives. We cannot tie their hands and put a blindfold or, put one hand behind. We have to let them do the best they can and allow the governor to have 5, whatever attorney, and let's sit and listen, because this is not only about today. This is about coming years in the future. They're going to look back at our journals and they're going to see how we handle impeachment process here in the legislature, the future legislature. So I just want to say that I think the best approach, Mr. President, is to hold off this passage, give the committee 1 week, not more than 1 week. Sit down with our legal counsel, address all the legal questions that have been posed, address the public comments that were raised, and they're very legitimate public comments, Mr. President. How, Mr. President, for example, can you create the impeachment rules committee, create an impeachment committee which can take Articles 1 to 6, and without the whole body of the Senate, which is 9, allow a committee of 5 to just get rid of all of these articles of impeachment? That's actually a constitutional violation, because the Constitution say the House impeach, the Senate convict. Only 5 people technically will be convicted them. So I think the House made a great presentation. What I'm saying, just repeating it, and I respectfully, professional, Mr. President, malatatsogi, idinansi, allow a committee. Si Antoinette, she was the one who initiated the rules for the 18 legislature. She took the Illinois impeachment rules. She worked on it. She's an expert. She knows how to do this. Not nothing against Joe, but you know, if Joe is gonna be the attorney, I wanna ask Joe to come up, and I'm gonna under off. I want him to answer many questions, such as, attorney, who gave you the bill? I mean, the rules. Did you create it? Did somebody create it and give? I have many questions, but Mr. President, I just ask that we do the right thing. Give 7 days, allow the committee, members of the public in between those, and let's do the rules, and let's just get this impeachment. Our people are tired. Manzada si Zusumasi.
Thank you, Senator Manglona, for your comments. I recognize Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, Senator po, karaman olungin man session bumuruko. Are you seeking justice or war, gini? Umpumpu si resolution ni House to proceed forward. Now that we're proceeding forward, you are interfering. Kote mang confident, are they not confident of their case? That's why we're moving forward, so we can entertain the resolution. Every time you come in here, we're very patient enough to continue to accept you, but you continue to create problem. Timang confident, stop the insulting, the accusation. Since when the governor? We're not representing the governor here, representing the public. We're trying our very best. Don't say that this is the governor. The governor authored this impeachment resolution of the Senate. We worked so hard for this. So don't accuse us. Lana, tapanapamuli gini na move forward. Basta na isi punaprebo ni publiko na ako mas muli gini. We're tired of his umulay no attitude gini. Don't gain the public's trust on you. You think we're bad? Let's move forward with this one. If they're confident with the case, they bring in when the time comes. We never bother the House when they does their investigation, although we can see some unfair, but we never interfere because the Constitution gave them that mandate. Stop interfering with our process so we can move forward with this resolution that you presented to the Senate. Are you guys not confident of your case? Give us that opportunity that the Constitution mandated us to do. There's two houses here. There's not only one house. Why are you coming in to be part of the impeachment rule of the Senate? If you're confident of your case, then wait for your time to be called when the time comes for that either hearing or trial and present it. But stop accusing all of us. Since the day that I come to the Senate, I represent my people and the Commonwealth. I don't represent one person. So stop accusing us and give us that mandate so we can do our job. Ako na yung Senator po, kabrada na yung umalong mo sa duruman na puso. Insesetawa.
Senator
So
Cruz,
this is enough. Stop saying that the governor altered this. Basta mapega palabra kay Patsun Mami sa ninasu kita tanos Mami. Dati managyan no Mami gini.
Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I'm not going to belabor the session, Senator Po. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple minutes because I need to allow the chairman of the committee to articulate on the manner in which the rule. No, so I'll allow you 2 minutes.
Yeah, Mr. President, isn't that's why in my letter or on I mentioned today in my comment about the impeachment, I mentioned that you stated, Mr. President, in the session on February 3rd that you're going to appoint a minority member. And that was a very good decision because then you have a committee as, when the House appointed the impeachment committee, they allowed minority members, I think 3 or 4. Here, not one, and there's only 2 minority members. You did not appoint a minority member, and this would not have happened because a lot of this discussion would have taken place. So, Senator Cruz Dispensa, if you feel that I'm accusing, all I'm saying is I'm accusing the bill that it was attached to 2216 because Senator Edith and I introduced to 14. That was the product of Antoinette and the other legal counsel back then. And the committee never took that as a starting point. If you look at the rules, it's totally day and night. And now, si Sus Masi.
Thank you, Senator Po. And at this time, I would like to now recognize Senator Carl King Neighbors.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I would like to say a couple of things real briefly, and then I would like to recognize our legal counsel. And after she's done, I would like the time back, please. First of all, I'm a little bit perplexed, Senator Paul. When we first entertained resolution, I think it was 14, the bare bones, as you called them, bare bones rules. You wanted it passed immediately. Now you're asking for more time. Which one is it? This is just a general question. I'm not asking for an answer. Now, thank you for that. Now, with regards to the concerns on Rule 3, subsection B, subsection C, I'd like to refer to legal counsel to expound on the case precedents that supports the structure of this rule. Specifically, Nixon v. U.S. The issue about having it in committee and not as the whole body of the Senate.
So Rule 3 basically gives the Senate President the option to either refer the articles of impeachment to the full Senate for a hearing or refer it to a special committee for a hearing. And the question has been raised about why create a special committee to hear any of the articles. And there is case law, and specifically a U.S. Supreme Court case called Nixon versus U.S. In this case, a circuit judge was impeached in the Senate, in a Senate committee, in the U.S. Senate, in committee, as opposed to the full Senate. So what happened was they referred his impeachment case to a Senate committee, and the committee heard the case. Had the hearing, heard the evidence, and then when the committee was done, they came up with the report and referred the matter to the full Senate, where the full Senate voted on the impeachment of the judge. So in our case here, the Joint Committee decided that it would be fair. I mean, it is consistent with the U.S. case law and the U.S. Senate's actions in the case Nixon v. U.S. that our Senate, we can have that same option, the option to either refer the impeachment articles to the full Senate for a hearing or refer it to committee for committee hearing. Then after the hearing, the committee report will be prepared and referred to the full Senate for action. And if the Senate decides, even if the Senate decides to have a committee hearing, the full Senate will still have to vote on every single article. So whether the Senate, and even if there was a predetermination that one or two or three of the articles did not meet the standard under the rules, that impeachment article still has to be brought to the full Senate. So all the articles will be referred to the full Senate for action. The only difference is if it goes to committee, the hearing will be held at the committee level, and there will not be a hearing held at the Senate level. That's Rule 3, and the Joint Committee used the case Nixon v. U.S. to basically justify that rule in our proposed rules.
Thank you.
Senator Carl, you have the floor.
Thank you.
Mr. President, as much time as we
Excuse
allow.
me, Senator Po, the Senator Carl has the floor. That's why he yielded his time to the others so that he can come in last. So he still has the floor.
So he has 2 minutes left?
No, he's gonna have the floor because he's the chair who created this, and I just recognize him and nobody else. So I respectfully ask that unless I recognize And please turn on your mic. Thank you. Senator Carl, you're on.
Thank you. Article 2, Section 8 of the CNMI Constitution provides that the legislature may impeach those executive and judicial officers of the Commonwealth subject to the impeachment under this Constitution. The House of Representatives may initiate the impeachment proceedings by affirmative vote of 2/3 of its members, and the Senate may convict after hearing by affirmative vote of 2/3 of its members. The Constitution makes it unequivocally clear that the Senate has a sole authority to convict the impeached official after the impeachment hearing by a vote of 2/3. Under the Constitution, each branch of the legislature is responsible for implementing its own rules to govern its impeachment process. In this case, the House essentially took an ad hoc approach and designed it to reach a preordained outcome. Since June 3rd, 2021, the House JGO committee has purportedly conducted numerous hearings, reviewed thousands of documents, and questioned multiple witnesses. As almost every witness was quick to point out, these hearings were conducted without any rules being adopted, arguably denying their rights to due process. And although the JGO's initial message was that it was trying to identify and make legislative reform, it soon became clear that the JGO's hearing was merely a pretext to serve as a vehicle for the impeachment of the governor. Over 223 days of hearings, JGO prepared 6 articles of impeachment and formally pre-filed the impeachment resolution with the House clerk on December 20th of 2021. On December 21st, the Speaker established a special committee of impeachment and referred the resolution to the special committee. That special committee held one meeting on January 4th, 2022, adopted one-page set of rules, and referred the impeachment resolution to the full House. On January 12th, 2/3 of the House members voted in favor of the impeachment resolution. It's noteworthy to mention that the special committee and the full House did not call any witnesses during this process in the full body, during the vote for the impeachment. They didn't seek any evidence, didn't adopt any testimony, offer any evidence from the JGO. Moreover, the one-page rule adopted by the special committee did not establish any standard for the House members to use in deciding whether to vote for the impeachment. Essentially, the House allowed each member to vote for the impeachment based on the member's personal perspective, regardless of the evidence or lack thereof, supporting the basis of the articles of impeachment. Members of this body, ladies and gentlemen, impeachment is a serious matter. It seeks to undo the power of the people expressed in an election. Our election is the process and the means for our people to express their preference for our governor, the chief executive of the Commonwealth. The people's choice should not be undone simply because certain politicians do not agree with the people's choice and wish to eliminate the official elected by the people in order to satisfy their own political ambitions. The Senate was silent on the ad hoc and unstructured process that the House chose to utilize. Given the serious nature of the impeachment, the Senate declined to do the same. Instead of adopting the bare bones rules, again offered by Senator Paul, the Senate Joint Committee took the time to develop rules that will ensure orderly and structured process for the Senate to reasonably consider the articles of impeachment. In doing so, the committee consulted the CNMI Supreme Court Rules of Procedures as a guide of developing the procedure governing the impeachment proceedings in the Senate, which includes defining House records and implementing timelines for these records to be given to the Senate. The Joint Committee also looked at the CNMI Superior Court Rules of Procedure to assist with the rules on the trial procedure and the burden of proof required for impeachment of an official. In preparing these rules, it was learned that states have impeachment trials conducted by the Senate and the upper chamber, and few states provide for the judicial branch. A few states' constitution provides for the judicial branch to conduct their impeachment trial. The ones that do so have a burden of proof of either clear and convincing evidence or beyond a reasonable doubt. I would like to note that when there is an impeachment process and the impeached official is of the same party of the Senate, they tend to choose beyond a reasonable doubt. This is something we did not do. We chose clear and convincing. Now, in effort to ensure that the rules are fairly applied, the Senate President also requested that the Chief Justice or his designee preside over the impeachment hearing or trial. However, the CNMI Supreme Court, through all three Supreme Court justices, refused to get involved in the impeachment trial, explaining that doing so would encroach on the authority vested in the legislative branch and disrupt the balance of power among the three branches of government. We choose to maintain this balance. The CNMI Supreme Court choose to respect the separation of powers of three branches. This decision echoes and solidifies the law that when the Constitution grants the Senate power to try an impeachment, the Senate's constitutional mandate to conduct a hearing also means that they have the sole authority to draft and adopt these rules governing the hearing. The Senate also referred to impeachment proceedings to a committee made up of senators from all three islands, Saipan, and Northern Islands, Tinian and Rhoda. That means every person from every island in the Commonwealth was represented in that joint committee. I'd also like to note that through our research, we came across another case law, David versus Akers, in which the U.S. case law standing for the fact that once a senator is elected, that senator represents all constituents in his or her senatorial district and is no longer just a part of their political party. This means when I make a decision as a senator, I'm responsible for the lives and the decision reflect all the people of the island of Tinian, not just independents, not just the Republicans, but also the Democrats. Finally, I acknowledge that the Speaker was honored to transmit the articles of impeachment to the Senate President, but for some reason is not honored to have that duty to present the impeachment case to the Senate. One can only wonder why. I yield back.
Thank you, Chairman King Neighbors. I want to open up any other comments from any other members before we call the vote. Senator Poe.
Thank you, President. Somehow I feel so handicapped. The lawyers can speak as much as they want, or the chairman. But Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the chairman, Gi corazon mo, is it right to ask the House Speaker to actually prosecute the whole case? And that's a good, that he will do a better job than an attorney. This calls for an attorney to present, because the speaker is more than capable to speak and all of that. But we're dealing with impeachment. You're right; it's a serious matter. And what's wrong with having them appoint three or four, three House members or four House members as impeachment managers, and allow also their attorney to speak? Because we're not telling the governor to just have one lawyer or two lawyers. He can pretty much hire as many lawyers as he wants. It just doesn't seem fair that as a lawmaker, I want to know what is legal, what is illegal, what is abuse of government trust, of government, abuse of government money, what is betrayal of public trust. I want to know that. So I want them to present a good case. I want the governor to put up a good fight. And then I'm the judge. Don't we all want to see that? I don't know if you guys don't want that, but I think that's what I'm asking. That's what the House is asking. As a matter of fact, there's, I understand there's like 4 or 5 of them in the JGO, and in hearing the live coverage, each one of them were handling different parts of the article of impeachment, and now we're going to handicap them further by saying only now the speaker. The speaker wasn't really involved in detail. He knows the general aspect and the charges, but now we're going to say only you, the speaker, only you and you only. And then if the speaker decides to not take it, it goes to another person. And then if that other person doesn't want it, now the Senate president, imagine the Senate president is going to select. This is just one of the many unfair rules that we have. And so I ask, does that seem fair that the speaker is going to go against an army of lawyers? And to top it off, the requirements are so detailed, like you say, per the court standards, and we expect them to meet all of that. That's so. I have some amendments to offer, but I'm going to allow a senator. I guess other senators have amendments, but I guess no matter what I say, it's already done. Thank you.
Thank you. I recognize Chairman Carl. You have any?
I'm not here to speak to, obviously, we have differing opinions on what is fair and what is not fair. That's why we put things to a vote where we can agree to disagree. I have my reasons as the committee discussed and deliberated over the way these rules were made. And I would hope that the speaker is versed on the documents that he transmits to the Senate. He's not, again, he will be there with support staff. He doesn't necessarily have to be the attorney, quote unquote. So again, we can agree to disagree.
Thank you, Chairman. And before I call the roll, just for clarification, clerk, upon the adoption or whatever the outcome is, that essentially gives the fate of that product, 2216. Okay. So I wanted to take a couple minutes just to first, I wanted to express appreciation for the comments made by the public and, of course, the members. As sensitive, as significant as this process is for the CNMI, since the beginning of the public comments that I made over the impeachment of the accused, I've always said that we're going to conduct a fair hearing. Now, I came out also publicly supporting the product of the joint committee of there's no absolute option that the committee had chosen. There's other elements that the Senate can engage. And as the presiding officer, it does allow me that opportunity. But we can't keep focusing on being, as one of us mentioned earlier, we're already being condemned without really going through the hearing process. And whether that is fair for some of us, I think that's pretty I would say respectfully disagree with some of the accusations that were made out there without really knowing. And again, it took some of the members of the legislature almost 2 years to dig and do all their proceedings, and it took the joint committee all of 20 days, 30 days. Even actually, we're supposed to be done earlier. They're supposed to be done earlier, but even being testing positive and had to dig them out and say you gotta get it going, because it's I don't want to belabor this process because I know everybody's waiting. So we're here today to start that process, and I fully understand that not all of us, as indicative of your comments, are comfortable with this proposed rules. But again, there are check mechanisms in there for most of us in this body. We know that the rules are there, but there are check mechanisms all the way down to Rule 44. And I only ask that we move ahead so that we can get to the next step, so that everyone in the Commonwealth can finally go with the process and watch the proceedings go in an equitable and a fair manner, open to the public. We'll give both sides an opportunity to present their case, and we'll go from there. We'll base ourselves with those presentation. I would like to call the roll now. As usually, I allow all the members to stay their peace before and I'm going to stick with that rule. And I apologize if you feel otherwise. So at this time,
The President, I think Senator Edith is raising her hand.
and I'm going to exercise my authority, Senator Poe, that, again, I allowed everyone to talk before I say my last statement, and that is the
Mr.
decision.
President, with all due respect,
Yes, Senator Poe.
before I end my statement, I said that I want to offer an amendment, some amendment, but I will allow others to first say what they want to say under discussion. But if you listen to my statement, I said I have amendments to offer. I could have made it at that point, but I respectfully allow other members to talk. If you look at the journal back.
Let me go for a short recess. No. We're back in session. And before we took that long break, there was a question, there was a request made by Senator Manglonia with regards to offering floor amendment to Resolution 2216. So at this time, the chair recognizes is Senator Poe or Senator Edith? Who's Senator Poe? Recognize.
It to the members. The first one, and I move at this point for the passage of floor amendment to Rule 27. As clearly indicated in the copies in front of all the members, this is pertaining to the impeachment committee that was created under this rule. So, and its authority. So, basically, it's to state that the Senate President shall not refer the articles of impeachment to a committee pursuant to any rule, including but not limited to Rule 3B or Rule 3C, and that the chairperson shall not be the presiding hearing officer and shall not preside over the proceedings or hearings in the committee. So I so move.
Second?
As offered by Senator Manglonia and seconded by Senator Edith. Discussion? I'm going to go ahead and call the roll for the disposition of the floor amendment offered by Senator Manglonia. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Senator Cruz? No. Senator De Leon Guerrero?
Yes.
Senator Hoku? Senator King Neighbors?
No.
Senator Manglonia?
Yes.
Senator Sablan?
Aye.
Senator Santos? Yes. Mr. President? Mr. President, 5 members voting no, 3 members voting yes.
With 5 no and 3 yes, the floor amendment offered by Senator Manglonia is hereby defeated and disapproved. And I recognize Senator De Leon Guerrero.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to offer a floor amendment to Rule number 28. And that amendment would be on page 19, line 28 to page 20, line 3, the issuance of orders under Rule 28 unless provided otherwise by these rules. Strike out the committee chairperson and to substitute it with Senate President has the power to make and issue all orders, mandates, writs, and other papers or documents authorized by these impeachment rules or by the Senate, and B, to enforce any rule and order related to the impeachment proceedings that the Senate authorizes. So moved.
So offered by Senator De Leon Guerrero for the floor amendment as read, and all of us have provided copy. Do I hear a second to that motion? Second. Under discussion. Ready? Clerk, please call the roll for the floor amendment so offered by Senator De Leon Guerrero.
Senator Cruz? No. Senator De Leon Guerrero?
Yes.
Senator Hoku? Senator King Neighbors?
No.
Senator Manglonia?
Yes.
Senator Sablan?
Aye.
Senator Santos? Mr. President?
No.
Mr. President, 5 members voting no, 3 yes, 1 absent.
With 5 no, 3 yes, and 1 absent, the amendment offered by Senator De Leon Guerrero is hereby did not pass. Sorry. Disapproved rather. So on the floor, the next floor amendment, I recognize Senator De Leon Guerrero.
Thank you, Mr. President, and this will be floor amendment to Rule number 31. On page 22, line 4 to page 23, under Section A, hearing on the articles of impeachment shall commence on the day and time directed by the committee chairperson. Strike that out, to be substituted by the Senate President. Hearing shall continue day to day until its conclusion. All legislative and other business of the committee, strike that out and substitute it by the word Senate, shall be suspended until conclusion of the hearing or until hearing is recessed by a majority vote of the committee. Strike that out and substitute that by the word Senate members. On Section B, 10 days prior to hearing, the impeachment prosecutor and impeached official or the impeached official legal counsel shall file with the committee chairperson. Strike that out and replace it with Senate President, a witness list and an exhibit list. The witness list and the exhibit list shall also be served to the opposing parties or their respective counsel. So move, Mr. President.
Motion for the amendment was offered by Senator De Leon Guerrero, and it's been seconded. Discussion? Ready? Please, clerk, I recognize the clerk to please call the roll on the amendment offered by Senator De Leon Guerrero.
Senator Cruz,
No.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Senator Hoku, Senator King Neighbors,
No.
Senator Manglonya, Senator Sablan,
Aye.
Senator Santos. Mr. President,
No.
Mr. President, 5 members voting no, 3 members voting yes.
With 5 members voting no and 3 yes, the amendment offered by Senator De Leon Guerrero is defeated. At this time, I recognize Senator Manglonya.
This motion, Mr. President, I have a floor amendment here. It's amending Rule 3C, preparation and form of proceedings. The Senate President may refer the articles of impeachment to committee, strike that out, and should replace by the words, the entire Senate for the hearing. The committee, strike the word committee and replace it with the entire Senate responsible for the hearing may also conduct a preliminary determination of the threshold questions of whether the articles of impeachment as presented and so forth. And on subsection 2, replace again the word committees and replace it with entire Senate's conclusion of the articles deemed to be deficient or insufficient shall be made a part of the committees, strike committees, replace entire Senate's report required by Rule 40A. And 3, the remaining articles of impeachment will proceed to hearing before the committee, strike the word committee, and the entire Senate to replace it. I so move for the adoption of this rule.
Second.
Amendment offered by Senator Manglonya. Can you, it's been seconded, but it's not part of the exhibit here, right? Is there another copy for the members? No? Any discussion? Give me a call for a short recess now. We're back in session. Senator Malonya's the question on the amendment offered by Senator Manglonia and has been seconded under discussion. Clerk, please call the roll on to dispose of amendment offered by Senator Manglonia.
Senator Cruz?
No.
Senator De Leon Guerrero?
Yes.
Senator Hoku? Senator King Neighbors?
No.
Senator Manglonia? Senator Sablan?
Aye.
Senator Santos? Mr. President?
No.
Mr. President, 5 members voting no, 3 members voting yes.
With 5 members voting no and 3 yes, the amendment offered by Senator Manglonia is defeated. Senator De Leon Guerrero, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to offer a floor amendment to Rule Number 34, page 24, line 20 to page 25, line 3, subpoena of witnesses, documents, or other materials, request to admit additional evidence. Each party may submit subpoenas for witnesses, documents, or other materials to the committee chairperson. Strike that out, to be replaced by Senate President at least 10 days prior to the commencement of the impeachment hearing. The committee chairperson, strike that out, Senate President, and replace it with the word Senate President, shall sign or approve each hearing subpoena that is timely submitted by a party. Under A, a witness served with a hearing subpoena may move to quash the subpoena by filing a motion with the Senate clerk no more than 3 days after service. On B, the committee chairperson, strike that out, replace it with Senate President, shall hold a hearing before the whole Senate on the motion to quash within 5 days after the motion was filed. C, the party that requested the subpoena may file an opposition to the motion to quash no later than 2 days prior to the hearing date. D, the committee chairperson, strike out the word committee chairperson, replace it with Senate pursuant to a 2/3 vote, shall rule on the motion to quash as soon as practical following the hearing. So moved.
There's been a motion, amendment offered by Senator Edith Leon Guerrero. Do I hear a second to that motion? It's been seconded. Discussion. Ready? Clerk, can you please call the roll on to dispose of the floor amendment offered by Senator De Leon Guerrero?
Senator Cruz?
No.
Senator De Leon Guerrero?
Yes.
Senator Hoku? Senator King Neighbors?
No.
Senator Manglonia? Senator Sablan?
Aye.
Senator Santos? Mr. President?
No.
Mr. President, 5 members voting no, 3 members voting yes.
With 5 members voting no and 3 yes, the floor amendment offered by Senator De Leon Guerrero is defeated. And I recognize Senator Paul Manglonia. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to offer a floor amendment to Rule 37. Copies have been provided to the members, and it's pertaining to page 25, line 22, to page 26, line 20. And Rule 37 is basically a rule on procedure at hearing, presentation of questions, motions, and other matters at the hearing, votes on motions, requests, and other matters. So you have all these subsections below, and the amendment is to just change the word committee chairperson to Senate President. Where the word committee appears, change it to the word Senate. I so move.
Second.
Floor amendment offered by Senator Paul Manglonia has been seconded. Discussion. Being none. Clerk, can you please call the roll for the floor amendment offered by Senator Manglonia?
Senator Cruz?
No.
Senator De Leon Guerrero?
Yes.
Senator Hoku? Senator King Neighbors?
No.
Senator Manglonia?
Yes.
Senator Sablan?
Aye.
Senator Santos? Mr. President?
No.
Mr. President, 5 members voting no, 3 members yes.
With 5 members voting no and 3 yes, the floor amendment offered by Senator Manglonia is hereby defeated. I think We are, that's the last of the amendment request. No? So with that, I now would like to recognize the clerk to call the roll for the main question or the adoption of Senate Resolution 2216. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Cruz,
Yes.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
No.
Senator Hoku, Senator King Neighbors,
Hungan.
Senator Manglonia, Senator Sablan,
Hungan.
Senator Santos. Mr. President,
Again,
Mr. President, 5 members voting yes, 3 members voting no, 1 absent.
um,
Yes.
with 5 members voting yes and 3 no, Senate Resolution 2216 is hereby adopted. Thank you, and I'd like to call for a short recess. On your calendar. We're back in session. This time I recognize the floor leader. I would like to direct the members' question to, attention to bill calendar. And this time I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have one legislation for action today, and that is Senate Bill number 22-61 in reference to Standing Committee Report 22-65 titled to amend 3 CMCs subsection 1331B by deleting the offset provision of the Northern Marianas College annual budget funded by the legislature. Mr. President and members, I move for its passage in the form of SD1.
This motion offered by the floor leader for the passage of Senate Bill number 2261 has been seconded. Discussion. Ready? Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Cruz,
Yes.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Senator Hoku, Senator King Neighbors,
Hungan.
Senator Manglonia, Senator Kiriguat.
Yes. Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay, Senator Manglonia,
Yes.
Yes.
Senator Sablan.
Hungan.
Continue. Continue on, clerk.
Clerk, I just arrived to my office and can you read the title of the bill that we're voting on?
Sure. It's to amend 3 CMC 1 subsection 1331B by deleting the offset provision of the NMC annual budget funded by the legislature.
This is Senate Bill 22-61?
SD1, yes.
61. Yes.
Hungan.
Is that those? Again.
Mr. President, 8 members voting yes.
With 8 members voting yes, Senate Bill 2261 hereby passes the Senate in the form of SD1. At this time, I request that the House Bill 2270 remains on bill calendar, and we'll address that on the next session. Under Q, petitions, memorials, miscellaneous communications. Senator Hokuk, recognize.
That joint resolution number 22-08 remains on the resolution calendar for our next session.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay, under Q,
Mr. President, we have two on our agenda, 2280 and 81.
any comments from any of the members? Announcements? Being none, adjournment. Floor leader, please.
Thank you,
offer a
Mr.
mo-
President. At this moment, I'd like to offer a motion to adjourn today's Senate session, subject to the call of the President.
Adjournment. Been seconded. All those in favor to adjourn this Senate session, please say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. This Senate session stands adjourned. Thank you very much for your participation.